Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. All the voices starting to give out, but this match is going to be an entertaining one. Great Britain versus New Zealand. Now, we've just seen the close of Kenya versus Argentina. So the winner of this game will face Argentina. The loser of this match will be going on to face up against the Kenyans. But in the starting lineups, first of all for Team GB, it is Will Homer, Morgan Williams, Ryan Apps. They have got Jardine, Charlton Kerr, Waddleton and Glover. Then for New Zealand, Cody Vai, McGarvey Black, then Maka, Mollier, Dylan Collier, Ollie Mathis, I should say, and Lewis Ormond, the last man in the starting side. Great Britain, they are wearing their dark blue, white and red. And then for New Zealand, they are in the white kit for this matchup. But Will Homer about to kick us off for the contest. Does just travel the 10 metres, nicely taken by Sione Mollier. And come on, New Zealand, let's go, boys, says Ruth. Yeah, quite a few changes for this New Zealand side. A lot of injuries, a lot of sickness in the camp as well. Biggest downfall equals New Zealand cohesion, says Neville. Now, Great Britain down the short side, that is in touch. It looks like it's going to be play on. Note the referee now has the flag up, and it will now be the line out for New Zealand inside of their 22. But New Zealand getting that ball straight off the bat, and then just to lose it in the first breakdown, or at least, yeah, very first breakdown of the match, New Zealand got counter-rucked. And Leroy Carter is my cousin, says Ruth there. And watch out for these Bulldogs, says Ruth. Now McGarvey Black ready to throw this one in for New Zealand. And this is the 5th place semi-final as well. For anyone who doesn't know, this is a shortened competition. You only have 2 matches of the group stage. They're going back now for an offside penalty against Great Britain. So Ronnie McGarvey Black, he will boot this one towards the touchline, get New Zealand a few extra metres here. Oh, that's a great kick. Only just going over the sideline, but that is all it needs. Now, the semi-finals, they are taking place in about 2 hours' time, first of which will be South Africa versus Spain. Second one that's taking place, Fiji versus France. So 2 big semis coming just around the corner. And then before that, we're actually going to see these sides, after that, we're going to see these sides back in action for those 7th and 9th place playoffs. 5th place playoffs. Daniel Cox, is he playing for Leroy Carter? He is not in the starting side, and he is not off the bench in this one either for Leroy Carter. Now going off to the left-hand side here. Oh, a little bit low in the passing department for New Zealand, but now it's looking a lot more crisp. Cody Vai puts in the fend and has dropped the ball. Now, that's quite interesting because in that first match that we covered between Argentina and Kenya, we saw a lot of players dropping the ball as well. So I wonder whether or not it's something, in the conditions, whether it's like a little bit of slipperiness on the ball or just, I don't know, a lot of balls have been dropped today compared to yesterday. But I think it's quite warm, so maybe the heat is causing the slipperiness. But New Zealand get with it, says Anovmum. But now, it's going to be GB putting the ball in for the scrum. It could also just be loose carries from both sides, though. Maybe a little bit too nonchalant about it. Now, scrum feed for GB. They're 15 metres or so out from their own line here. Coherent and fluently done. Please not stupid passing, New Zealand, says Ruth. Yeah, if Great Britain can just hang in this game, like they did up against the Fijians, they did brilliantly in that department, but now running this one forward. Nice step coming in from Will Homer. They are currently only 10 metres out from their own line here, Great Britain, and that ball is booted downfield with a kick like that. It could be anyone's. Looks like plenty of pace there for GB. Winning the foot race, waiting for the bounce of the ball, and he gets it. And the try goes the way of Great Britain. Ryan Apps scores the first one. After this, you may have your pre-midnight snack, Hamish, says Neville, and Carter must be injured. And evening, morning, Hamish, and all. Don't drop the ball, will you? Says Graham. And I suppose I have to support the boys even though it doesn't feel right, says Flesham. Well, they have started this match very well, Great Britain, managing to get themselves the early try up against New Zealand, who continue to concede soft tries. Go the All Blacks, says Johan. And nope, New Zealand 5, Great Britain 14 is the prediction there from Blues Nate. We only support any GB team in the Olympics. I don't see many kicks, plays in sevens, says Nov Mum. Yeah, someone who's very good at them is normally Kenya, but we didn't see a huge amount from them in that game up against Argentina. I think they've had the most out of any side on the 7 circuit so far. And howdy, Hamish, says Blues Nate. Welcome in, mate. Hope you have been keeping well. Going off to the left-hand side here now for the New Zealanders. Lewis Orman cuts back inwards. Looking to answer back with a try now. I should mention GB did miss that kick. So that keeps the score for now at 5-0. Now Cody Vai goes on the outside to Sione Molia. Now back this time it's going to be Maka who goes through and just jogs this one in for New Zealand's first try. Should be a nice, easy conversion attempt too. And Brit, I am, but not for sport. Go New Zealand, says Graham. And New Zealand are playing like amateurs. They should refund their salaries. Says Neville and Whoosh, it's all level. Says Ruth there, and mate, show us the game, says PNG, mate. Sadly, due to licensing, any match footage or audio would get me taken straight off YouTube, banned for 3 months, and probably sued by World Rugby. But the coverage will be on Rugby Pass TV. If you do know where to find that, you're all good to go. But it does depend on what country you're in. Will depend on if they let you see it. That is nice work from Safai Maka. And he does also get that kick over, so making the score now 7 points to 5 in favour of New Zealand. A lovely evening. Thank you, Hamish. Rufkata, hello, buddy. Says Blues, Nate. Oh, looks like there's a bit of an injury here for one of the GB players. And we'll give him a bit of a bandage, I would say, is probably the best way of fixing that one. I made it back from the pub, but it was touch and go, says Fleshin. Now getting ready to kick this one off again. New Zealand going down to about 30 metres out from Great Britain's line, and a nice take under the high ball from Charlton Kerr. Back across now to the left-hand side. That looked very flat for GB in terms of that pass. Now flicked out the back door from Harry Glover. Hey, they just said nonchalant. That's something I said before. But now that is going to be a little bit of a collision between two of the GB players. Waddleton just running into the back of his teammate. And now it gives New Zealand the scrum feed with 1 minute to go in this first half. A very close game so far. Great Britain, I think they've been quite impressive throughout this tournament. I know they haven't had a huge amount of big wins along the way. I mean, they beat Uruguay, but then they weren't able to beat Fiji. They're going to be close up against New Zealand here. They might be one of those sides that have just been unlucky throughout the Cape Town Sevens. And if they do lose this game, they go on to face Kenya, which honestly could be a very hard game to predict. Now 30 seconds left, 40 metres out from the line here for New Zealand. Bit of a loose one. Sione Molia has to jump on it. Now Cody Vai receives the ball out on this left-hand side of the field on the halfway line. Breaks through one tackle, got the offload here to Maka. It's going to be a foot race. He's not quite going to win it. Good tackling made by GB. And Apps has managed to shut down that New Zealand play, but New Zealand still have the possession here. Ollie Mathis in the middle of the park puts the ball on the inside. GB, good steal in the breakdown, but the ball is loose, little bit casual with the way that they grabbed that ball, and now passing it off. Will Homer finds one more. That's a hospital pass though, picked up now by Cody Vai, and New Zealand looking towards the try line here. Maka dragged down, gets his offload again. This time it's a big wide cutout pass. Standing on the middle of the field, Sione Molia trying to find that next gap ball on the inside to Ormond, and that is a great pass. Now Rohi McGarvey Black through the middle, and that'll be the try for New Zealand. 14-5 halftime to New Zealand, says Daniel Cox, and well, New Zealand trying to run it, says Ruth. But yeah, repeated mistakes from both of those sides in a row there. But in the end, Rohi McGarvey Black does get it over the try line. Yeah, that is just a rough pass from GB. Will Homer setting his teammate up for failure. Beautiful day for rugby. And let's go round two, says Blues Nate. And does end up scoring it in the end. Rohi McGarvey Black for the Kiwis. And puts it down. Does also get the kick over. So the score at halftime sitting 14 points to 5. And okay, score at 30, New Zealand 20, says Ruth. And that is a good lead to have. 9 points difference. GB, they'll be regretting not getting that kick over. But There's still plenty of time. 7 minutes and sevens can feel like an eternity. Definitely if you are defending. Just phase after phase from the opposition. But the question is, can these two sides get phase after phase put together? We've seen already a few handling errors throughout the last little while. And 14-5 halftime score New Zealand, says Daniel Cox. That is correct, as that is what has happened in the game so far. So round 2, another trip to the pub, or another trip to the pub, I should say, says Blues Nate. So I've already seen that they've mentioned about the cancellation. It took a little while for them to mention it here in New Zealand. Like I saw the headlines for it recently that they did say eventually they decided to call off the Ospreys game. But by the sounds of it, it's been called off since yesterday. South Africa collapsed to 281 for 8. At least they didn't collapse like New Zealand did, or India in that case. 5-day test matches ending halfway through day 3 is not ideal. It also makes me quite happy that I didn't decide to go up for the base and reserve test, because then, you know, you would have booked 5 days accommodation to only have 3.5, or in fact 2.5 days of cricket. And Graham, that's not a bad score in the cricket. Says Roof there. Yeah, although it will depend a little bit on the outcome of the match, I guess, or in terms of how many runs they lead by or are behind by, for whether or not that puts them in a good spot. Second half of this one, not too far away. We'll have a quick look. International cricket. There we go, what we got. So at the moment, South Africa lead by 312. Oh, okay, so that's almost, it should be enough, but you just never know. I think they'd want another 50 runs at least just to feel a little bit more comfortable. It's lucky they have 30 plus a lead to go, says Graham. And we have got, yeah, it's still storming up here. The trees are all over the place, says Flesh, and it's going to be kicked off now. GB claiming it on their 22. Now Will Homer. Going to be wrestled towards the touchline by Lewis Orman, not very successfully though, as he has stayed in the field of play. Now looking for that next pass. The youngster breaks through the line. This is going to be a great chance here for Jardine. And I don't think they're going to catch him here. Lewis Orman's going to try and cut him off, but not even that will be successful. And GB now strike early in the second half to put New Zealand under more pressure. Jardine, his first try in Cape Town, his 4th of his career. Just a little bit of a gap opening up as soon as the missed tackle came for New Zealand. They've had way too many of those throughout the last 2 weeks. And then just able to run it in. Sonny Jardine does get the try. We have a maximum of 6 degrees Celsius today and a lot of wind. Says Fleshin. I called it. Says Daniel there. Did you? Where did you call it? I see your last comment was 14 points to 5 half time. I'll go back a little bit further and find. Did you, as in your original prediction? I don't see that one either. In that regard. English pounding that turf now. Pace too much for the Kiwis. But now GB will have to defend. New Zealand in possession here. Tony Nashu trying to find his way through. Gets the offload away to Dylan Collier. And Blue All Night here in Essex. Says Graham. Now offload again coming from Marker. Gets it to Dylan Collier. Oh, that was a risky one. And there's going to be the penalty. Double blow of the whistle. Oh, this can't be a yellow card, can it? This was 2 hands to the ball. It's just a knock on. But it's going to be ruled as a deliberate knockdown. And Messon's going to make his way from the field. I think that's very harsh. As, like, he got one finger to it. But to be fair, he had both hands up. And if he had caught it, it was going to be a try down that end. So that might be the gift that New Zealand needs to get themselves a little bit further ahead here. And slow sunny gin and tonic. Cheers, Sunday cheers, says Ruth. And I'm in Oxford. We go to Spain for the summer. Says Flesh in there. And now New Zealand with the line out throw for Narohi McGarvey Black. Getting ready to throw this ball in. Dylan Collier takes it nicely. Now going to the left-hand side. Sione Molia on the halfway line. Cody Vai trying to make his way through. Nice offload, although very risky. Sione Molia managing to clean it up. This one's scrappy from New Zealand. Not the cleanest passing we've ever seen, but it goes out wide. A bit of a slip there for Ollie Mathis. Just having a mango, pineapple and banana smoothie. That sounds delightful. Rups. Now I'm hungry. Now, big cutout pass, hanging in the wind. Cody Vine needed that pass one more on the outside to Maka, but he couldn't quite get it. And now the penalty goes the way of the All Blacks Sevens. 4 minutes remaining. Looks like there might be an injury here. This does not look too good for Harry Glover. He's pretty much lying down on top of the man who did run the ball. That was Cody Vine. Now New Zealand busting their way through 10 metres out from the try line. With a man advantage, this surely has to lead to a try. They do the wide cutout pass. It travelled forward. But they will go back for the original penalty again. I wonder how many wind turbines are left in Wales. And pineapple on anything, please, says Ruth. Oh, great step. Coming again, New Zealand will score the next try. 7-on-6. That will be back to 7-on-7. It was my original prediction. Let's have a look. Says Daniel Cox. Right, we're looking through. We've got Let's Go Leroy Carter from you. Is he playing as the next one? Carter must be injured. Those are all... Oh, no. You've got 14-5 half-time to New Zealand. But those are all of the messages I can see from you, Daniel. So if you did have a prediction, I guess it didn't come through. But now, 21 points to 10 for New Zealand anyway. 3 minutes remaining. Tony Nashu gets himself yet again another try. Ruth Carter, whereabouts in Humpy? Humpy, is it? I don't know how to pronounce that. Parents moved down there to Lee on Solent. But now GB with the possession. Kick downfield. And it does go into touch. A decent kick. A little bit of territory being gained there for Great Britain. But for them to win this game, they do need tries. And they're running low on time. Only 2 minutes remaining. It does look like once again we're going to see New Zealand versus Argentina and a setup for that 5th place final. And then that would make Kenya versus Great Britain the 7th place playoff game happening a bit later on. But now Naroi McGarvey-Black, another line-out opportunity here for New Zealand. Dylan Collier offloads the ball up to Andrew Newstub. In fact, no, sorry, it wasn't Newstub, it was Ollie Mathis. And again, another penalty goes the way of New Zealand, just slowly working their way up the field here. But for anyone wondering, our next live stream will be taking place at 12:50 p.m. Or sorry, 12:50 a.m. New Zealand time. So that is in an hour 45 minutes. Hamish, not being trying to be rude or anything, but do you sleep? I sleep sometimes. I got a bit of sleep before the start of the sevens today, which is a good effort. I think I managed like 5 or 6 hours, which is a good day for myself. Hailing Island, Portsmouth, then that's a fun place. Says Fleshin. Because you do a lot of streams. Says Duke. Yeah, we got quite a few middle of the night streams that are coming up in the near future. Definitely because most of the rugby at the moment is Northern Hemisphere stuff. So the Champions Cup next week will be the same. We'll be doing a couple all-nighters. Loose ball there for New Zealand. And actually, referee got on the way of Naroi McGarvey-Black, which then meant GB, first man to the ball penalty, goes against New Zealand again. South Africa galloping, 1 run. Or I think that's galloping, isn't it? 1 run and 2 overs, or glopping. Yeah, I don't know how to say that one. Amazing. Flesh in lots of fun pubs. I usually do some more NRL ones. Says Duke. I mean, we've considered it in the past. Like, we might consider the next World Cup as one that we could cover. The NRL, unfortunately, it does overlap with Super Rugby so much. So it makes it extremely tricky to do consistent live streams, which, like, it's one of those ones I wish that we could. But then you get, like, we'll do a Super Rugby stream. People will say, why aren't you doing the NRL? We do an NRL stream. Someone would say, why aren't you doing Super Rugby? So it makes it very challenging to do both of them. The 2 Rush brothers getting in there. See his Blues, Nate. Now Carpenter. Ready to put the ball into the scrum for New Zealand. And 28-10 full-time prediction from Daniel Cox. Unless, of course, he has just seen it. At the end of the day, the coverage is a little bit behind for myself, so it might actually be the full-time score. And kia ora, Hamish, hope you're well. What's your plans for Christmas? Looking forward to the break. We still do streams, says Marco. I think we'll still end up with some sort of streams taking place a lot of the time. But yeah, I think it's just Christmas lunch at ours at the moment. I'm not sure about anything that's happening later on in the day, but hopefully just a nice quiet barbecue or something would be quite good. That's going to be the penalty going the way of Team GB. New Zealand have done okay. I'm off for some shut-eye. Thanks again, Hamish. Says Moa Hunters. It'll be Fiji versus Spain again, with Fiji winning again. Says Rups. A nice step coming from Morgan Williams. I know a good NRL channel you could collaborate with. That's something you might be interested in, Hamish. Says Defunk. Which one are you talking about? Defunk, that one, New Zealand trying to get the turnover. Can't quite get it. Do you still play Rugby Challenge 4? Not a huge amount. Like, I probably played it like a month ago when I tried playing Rugby 25 and it was unplayable at that stage, so I just switched back. That's a great bit of work from GB. Ball sits up off the kick and behind, and now they have managed to get a little bit closer back into this game. They won't win it, but they've done well. Was the France result a bit freak, or are they that good? I think it was a little bit of both. Like, don't get me wrong, France have been a phenomenal team throughout this competition. Like I mentioned, throughout their first 2 games, they've put on 97 points. Like, you don't see that very often in a world of sevens. Fiji have put on 87, which means their game in the semi-final has potential of being an absolute try-scoring fest, or it could be an extremely low-scoring, close one. Rugby Challenge needs to improve their graphics and commentary, says T7. Although the good news about the commentary not being great is if we're doing a video on it, we just can do, like, we can literally do the commentary ourselves. Wasted World of Sports. He's an Aussie/Kiwi dude. I think I've heard of him. He does quite a bit of the NRL plus a bit of rugby union as well, doesn't he, Defunk? If I'm correct. I think he was doing the NRL playoffs, I think is when I saw him last. He has less subs than you for Kalen Ponga. You know, I don't think, like, a Kalen Ponga, don't get me wrong, would be a cool collaboration, but it wouldn't really make sense at the moment, seeing as we haven't really done any rugby league content in the last, like, year or so. So, yeah, it would be a random one. That is sure. Something in the middle school-wise, perhaps. Yeah, I think somewhere in the middle. Like, France have been very good throughout this tournament. New Zealand have been pretty poor. So I feel like that kind of evens itself out. But that big game definitely is France versus Fiji. And whether or not France can back up what they've been able to do. Is this the quarterfinals? This was not. This was a 5th place semi-final. So New Zealand will now be playing Argentina in the 5th place final. And then in 7th place final, Great Britain will take on Kenya. So those are the 2 matches that are coming up. And like FIFA says T7, I use Flesh and Bloody cold in winter, gorgeous in summer. Isle of Wight, also nice. Says Ruth. And Frenchies are good. Never write the froggies off. And then, brother, I have a big feed with the fams. I've been busy with work, brother. But slowly easing back to normal now that Christmas is near. Legend. Glad to see you well, says Marco. And it is good to hear from you as well, Johnny. Hopefully, yeah, you do enjoy your Christmas. I'm sure we'll see you before then anyway, of course. But I hope you are keeping well. Will you make another Rugby Challenge 4 video? Eventually, I think we will have more Rugby Challenge. The amount of Rugby Challenge videos that we've filmed that we've never released is actually quite a few. Like we did, after that Rugby World Cup last year, we did a video how World Rugby gave their team of the tournament. We went with our team that wasn't allowed to include theirs, and it was a last-minute thriller. And I think one of the best games of Rugby Challenge I've ever played in terms of enjoyment. Filmed it, half-by edited it, never released it. It just got too late. It took me a couple days to get it done, and then it was no longer a relevant situation. Eatsmith season is mango season in Fiji, and let it rip, mate. Blocking is bad for you, says Graham. But yeah, nonetheless, so the next live stream that we have got, it is going to be in 1 hour, 40 minutes time, and that is going to be the one taking place between, will be Spain and South Africa, and then Fiji versus France, the game that will be happening straight after that. Thank you, Hamish, says Robert V. And we'll see you, bro. Cheers, says Marco. So we will see you later on. And yeah, possibly a couple of you guys, hopefully we'll be popping in for those semi-finals later on. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.